All right, guys, last night we got news, breaking news, that the SEC met with stock exchange officials to discuss the listing of these spot Bitcoin ETFs and that these things could be approved as soon as tomorrow. However, today is not going to be strictly a Bitcoin show, but today we're going to talk about where capital will rotate the second that the approval happens. And we're going to talk about that narrative, that shift in capital rotation so we can front run everybody else. And I'm going to show you a couple of gems that I just got into today that I think are going to benefit tremendously from this narrative. All right, guys, if that sounds good to you, make sure you like the video. If you're new to the channel, what up? My name is Kyle Chasse. I've been in crypto for 12 years. My goal on this channel is to help you guys make as much money as possible in this upcoming super cycle we're about to go into. And also, guys, I'm feeling a lot better today. If you haven't noticed in the past two shows, I kind of ran through them because I was feeling horrible. So I'm feeling better today. So this should be a more chilled stream anyway, but let's get into it, guys. So first of all, we're going to talk quickly about this Bitcoin spot ETF news, and then we're going to get into this rotation of capital here. So Eleanor, our Fox News correspondent, says, new from me today, the SEC meeting with exchanges on the SEC stock exchange. Officials met ahead of potential spot Bitcoin ETF approval. And then you can see Nate Garachi, this guy from the ETF show. He says, update on spot Bitcoin ETFs. Sources close to the proceedings say the SEC could begin notifying issuers of approval on Friday, with trading beginning as early as next week. And guys, I'm very, very, very bullish on Bitcoin and Ethereum right now with this price correction and how it hasn't shot up yet. So I doubled down on my Bitcoin longs, and we'll show you guys in just a bit here what happened with my ETH trade. But anyway, so we saw, and just to have more clarity on that, we saw what would happen, right? So what was it? Tuesday morning, first day of trading, people thought that the spot ETFs would be approved that day, and we saw that massive, crazy wick, right? Bitcoin up, and then we got this FUD about it, and it hasn't recovered from the FUD. So in my opinion, we know exactly what's going to happen the second that we see this approval, and for whatever reason it doesn't happen, I think that we saw the lowest of where it might go to like 39,000, something like that, right? But everything points to this thing actually coming through. And Bitcoin Magazine says, Justin, Fidelity just filed registration of securities for a spot Bitcoin ETF with the SEC. Guys, this is not really a big deal. Oh, so you can't see that. It's not really a big deal. As we can see over here, so Gabor says, an issuer can register a security, but approved 19B4 and effective S1 still needs to be in place to launch the ETF or ETP. For the second time today, it's clear that people know very little about the ETF process and hype up everything. Stay calm and enjoy the show. And then, and then just some joking around from James down here. I don't know, man. Didn't you hear an A8 filing means that they're approved? And yeah, but it's not, right? It's just like a registration thing. It's not really a big deal. But what is interesting here is that we can see filings for leverage and inverse spot Bitcoin ETFs using prospective iShares Bitcoin ETF and the underlying reference for swap agreements. Stuff is getting wild. So basically, they're using this T-Rex. So actually, these new filings that would be effective March 18th are going to be using, they're done from the iShares. So it's basically leveraged longs or leverage, I don't know if it's short, on the Bitcoin spot price. So this is like if you are overall bullish on Bitcoin and its underlying asset spot, and you want a little bit of like futures exposure or leverage exposure, you can use these ETF instruments. And so there's going to be a whole basket. Once these spot Bitcoin ETFs and then an ETH ETFs get approved, there's going to be all kinds of derivatives of the ETFs as well, which will give the whole. We don't even know what else is going to come, but you can see that it's funny that they're using, like, I like to see these commercials too, right? Because it's like not old people commercials. They're trying to be like hip, cool for people who are into Bitcoin, right? And then like also they're making them like hip and cool, so like old people can be like, yeah, I'm hip and cool. I'm in Bitcoin. Do you have Bitcoin? I got Bitcoin. So anyway, they're using our language like HODL and all these kind of stuff, So Nate again says, you all are wild out here. Was offline all morning. Some random produces a report saying that they believe SEC will deny spot and just assumes it's legit. Goes against everything reported by mainstream media and, more importantly, the actual actions by SEC issuers recently. Because we know that they've been in so many meetings lately, like it's just crazy. Like, why else would Gensler, like, you know, take time from his tea time and whatever else he's doing out there regulating stuff to go meet with, you know, the heads of the stock exchanges and the SEC or the issuers to discuss the actual listing process, right? So Nate again says SEC decision deadline on ARC21 shares spot Bitcoin ETF. So basically everyone else or potential lawsuits is 1 week from today, 1 week. 10 years ago, since the first spot Bitcoin ETF filing, we're now down to 1 week. 10 years ago was the Winklevoss twins. If you know Cameron and who is it? Cameron and Tyler Winklevoss. You know, the guys from Social Network, Zuckerberg, Facebook. Yeah. So here we go. 1 week, guys, 1 week. And we could have information as early as tomorrow. So exciting. But we're not here to talk about Bitcoin. We're talking about Ethereum and the capital rotation. I made this video like a week or two ago, and I'm doubling down on that narrative. I don't think that Ethereum is going to explode here, but I'm taking a leverage bet on it today. And you can see that, you know, I like Ethereum down at, you know, 5% today. So I opened this long at entry price 2226, and it's a 5x leverage. And you can see, so I wouldn't get liquidated until 1792. I think that, you know, the way that things work, guys, is, and if you guys want, again, if you're not in our VVIP group, I suggest that you do that. It's totally free to get into. There's all kinds of alpha. People just, it's growing like crazy. Really suggest that you get in there, totally free. All you have to do is follow the instructions in the description below to get into that VVIP group. And like, as you can see, oh, it's great. No, now it's red, green, red. Teeter-tottering on break even right here. I just opened this like 5 minutes before the show. So, but I feel very, very good about Ethereum here. Like, it's been very slow. Look at this. It's the past 24 hours, total stable coin, right? And really, over the past year, it's only up 78%. And we know that it's highly likely, from everything that we know, that as soon as the Bitcoin spot ETF gets approved, that what's the next thing? And this is how the minds work in crypto and in even TradFi. Everyone's looking for like the next event for something to look forward to. This is why everything kind of dumps on like when we saw Bonk all the way run up and Pepe run up, and then boom, the pinnacle of like the highest degree that you can achieve in the exchange success is Binance. And once we have that Binance listing and starts trading, poof, crashes down after that. And so that's why I'm still not certain here about the direction Bitcoin heads after the ETF approval and the day it starts trading. Like I said before, I was expecting that there'd be more time between the approval date and the day it starts trading. Now it seems like we could get approval and start trading like very soon afterwards. And because we had this big correction, now Bitcoin's sitting at what, like 42,000 something right now. I don't think that we're going to have a huge correction if it starts trading. Let's say it starts trading on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday next week. I don't think we're going to have a big correction. I think it's still going to run up. I still don't think we're going to have a major correction until it gets closer to $60,000 or something. That's my own personal opinion. But I would be looking to take some profits off the table on my Bitcoin long if it gets approved. Anyway, rotation into ETH is an inevitability here. And because there hasn't been any attention on it recently, you can just see that like this is where, in my opinion, is a pretty clear where we can go. Look, I mean, in the past 6 months, it's only up like $225, basically nothing. It's gotten such little action recently, but it's going to be the next thing that capital flows into when the attention goes to an Ethereum spot ETF. Ethereum still, even though it may not perform like a Solana or a Say or something that's bull run, because there's so much divided attention for old timers and people in pension funds and stuff like that, it's still going to, ETH will still do a 3, 4, 5x in this bull run. And so that'll still be amazing for people who are positioned in this spot ETFs. And it'll also give these huge investment, like Fidelity and BlackRock and everyone else, another asset to sell, right? Like, oh, I know you bought Bitcoin, 6 months ago, Tom, now we got Ethereum. What do you think? Oh yeah, well, we allocated, 3% of Bitcoin. Why don't we allocate 2% to Ethereum? So yeah, sounds good, Mark. All right, let's get the deal done. So that's how it's going to work coming up soon, we should see a huge influx in the price of Ethereum. But Am I saying go out and buy a bunch of ETH? Not unless you don't already have some position to it. But today we're going to look at the ETH primitives coming up. And then at the end, I'm going to show you a couple small cap coins or smaller cap, one small cap, one medium. The small cap is the one that I think is absolutely going to fly very, very soon. And so let's look at a couple things that are happening right now. So lots lined up for ETH related coins, EIP 4844, Eigenlayer Restaking, and ETH Spot ETF. So what is EIP 4844? This is essentially what we're calling proto-dank sharding, which is a really cool name. I like it a lot. But what you need to know is it's a primer essentially for dank sharding. It's dank as like that stuff you buy from the, from the weed shop, super dank. No, just kidding. But it's a primer essentially for when Ethereum does go full sharding and scales up. And I guess we're going to have that sometime, I don't know, maybe at the end of the year, maybe in 18 months from now. Eventually, ETH layer 1 will be much more scalable than it is now. But this 4844 is going to be extremely good for layer 2s. And so that's why we're seeing like Arbitrum on a run right now, Optimism. Don't forget we have ZK Sync coming up with the airdrop pretty soon, which is going to be massive. But EIP 44 is going to be very, very good for layer 2s. If you thought that their fees were cheap now, wait till after 4844 will make the fees even much, much cheaper. Now, the big thing that we're going to talk about today is Eigenlayer. So what is Eigenlayer? It essentially allows you to restake your staked ETH. So we have all this value in Lido and Rocket Pool, et cetera, but some geniuses, some big brain mathematicians were thinking about how do we, get more crypto and degen and use this staked assets as more ways to make money or increase our yield. So let's listen to this brief explanation over here on Bankless from this guy from Eigenlayer.
Try and do the extreme explain like I'm 5, maximally simple left side of the bell curve explanation of restaking. So if people understand Ethereum staking, there's no way they can listen to Bankless and not understand what Ethereum staking is. So starting from there, what is restaking in its most simplest form?
Yeah, restaking is the idea that the same stake that is used for securing the Ethereum proof of stake network can now be used to secure many other networks. That's the simplest version. So in staking, what you do is you lock a bunch of stake, and then you're saying, I'm going to validate the Ethereum blocks correctly as per the rules and the covenants laid down in the protocol. If I don't do it, I'm going to lose my ETH. That's the covenant that you're opting into when you're staking in Ethereum. If you restake, you use the same stake in Eigenlayer, like you take the same stake. Now you not only add a covenant that you're going to validate Ethereum blocks correctly, but you add covenants that I'm validating David's new oracle correctly or Ryan's new chain correctly. And if you don't obey these covenants, you may lose your ETH, just like you lose your ETH in the Ethereum base layer. And one way of visualizing this is...
Yeah, so he's going to go into some other example of like an army and how you if you look at Ethereum as a nation state, then you can have an army, and then that army can be redeployed to protect other things like, oil, oil refineries and bridges and stuff like that. But basically what it is, guys, is it just allows you to take your staked ETH, on whatever it is, and then you take the staked ETH and then you can use that in other places that need security, like in bridges, like Oracle networks, and the same rules apply. Like if, let's say that you're staking some of your staked ETH to secure, let's say CCIP or Chainlink price feed or whatever, if you don't obey whatever the rules are of your job securing that price feed or whatever, then you lose that staked ETH, which is the same thing as losing it from not obeying the rules as an ETH validator, for example. So this is going to be really, really big. Again, this is the things that TradFi or TardFi can't wrap their head around, just the amount of capital efficiency that we're able to create within the crypto and tokenized economies. But this is going to be really, really big. And so anything Eigenlayer is going to be a huge narrative on the ETH network. And we're going to talk soon about how you can get involved. One thing I thought was funny though is like, what happened to this guy's camera? Look at this, like all these water droplets over here. I thought that was on my screen for a second, but I don't know if he's just spitting at the camera when he's talking or like had a water fight or something before. I'm not sure, but anyway. So the market rediscovers restaking as a powerful new primitive in Q1. And so you can see that this is Lido chart and it's been pumping. Why? Because you're going to be able to double down or get more yield on this staked stuff. So this is Ansem. He's saying, I'm buying this beta. I'm buying the beta to this and I'm going to print Infinite. This is what I'm about to tell you guys about in just a second, what this is. And here we go. So Eigenlayer might be the largest airdrop ever and potentially double-digit billion FDV on launch. Only one restaking protocol, RSDK, with a token currently, and it's not even 30 million. It is now above 30 million, but I'll tell you guys about it in just a second. So violent repricing warranted. And so RSDK is still the only token to go long on Eigenlayer. Audit to be published within days. Partnerships, team from Gnosis, MakerDAO, Consensus, and Filecoin. So big team. Everstake, one of the largest institutional validators, is a partner and investor and will offer infrastructure support. And we go to the site, Restake Finance. And so you can see that we don't know yet what the APY will be. But essentially, if you're getting, let's say, 4.5% from Lido, a Rocket Pool, or one of my favorites, new staking protocols coming up called Asymmetry Finance, you guys should definitely check them out. If you, they're about to launch, I think, next month, their token. And so you can already start getting qualified for an airdrop on that, by the way. Anyway, maybe I'll cover it in a future one. Asymmetry Finance. We're investors in that and do some really cool things. So anyway, but back to this. So basically what you'll be able to do is take your staked ETH and restake it using Restake Finance, and probably will be qualified for the Eigenlayer airdrop as well. That's not confirmed yet, but this is one of the only protocols that has a token that is using Eigenlayer exclusively. And so it's probably a good chance here. Now, this thing has pumped like crazy in the past 24 hours. However, literally, so when I started researching this show, I bought a pretty large bag. This is probably my candle right here or something like that. But I did probably buy it like right at the same price it's at right now. So $35 million market cap. And I think this thing has, you know, like imagine this. Imagine that we have like Lido's market cap, right? So let's go back up. This is the next one I'm about to talk to you guys about, but let's just go back and do some fun things right here. Like, so the TVL of Lido anyway is like in the billions, right? So, so imagine what happens when everybody comes. They don't have TVL. Anyway, I'm not gonna find it right now. But it's like billions. Like the staked ether is like 20 something billion. And imagine if most of that comes back, because why not? You're sitting on your staked ETH anyway. Redeposit that in Restake and earn additional yield for doing absolutely nothing, right? That makes the most sense to me. So this thing could get insane TVL right now, and or very, very, very soon. And when it does, this thing should go through the roof. And to buy it at a $35 million market cap right now, I think is a no-brainer. So you can see that some of the how the tokens were allocated for this restake. Nice thing is, public sale happened. It was a large public sale, much larger than the private sale. And they had a 100% release at TGE. And then strategic sale, 2.5%. So 3 months listed, 3 month cliff. So let's see, when did this thing start trading? Go back here. Let's do the daily. So you can see this thing. Yeah, it's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It's only like been a couple weeks here. So you do have a small amount, but it is a small amount of tokens that are, you know, not huge. So we will have an unlock here probably in the next like 2 months, but probably not a big one. And then you've got linear vesting of this tranche right here, but it's still not a very big tranche. So the public sale was the majority of the tokens that were sold, and they're already 100% circulating. And you can see there's the airdrop as well. And I don't know if it was already airdropped or not. And team 15%. So anyway, I don't need to talk about the rest of that, but good news is that you have a pretty fairly large, it's not huge circulating supply. You can see FDV is so you only have about, what is this? Like, it's about, I don't know, about 20% circulating right now. So definitely still some inflation to come, but if this thing just skyrockets with TVL, this thing should still increase significantly. So, and then we have this other one too, SSV. So this is the objective of SSV. So this is a bit higher of a market cap. It's 211 million, which maybe leaves a bit less room for upside. It is a way to decentralize the Ethereum concentration. So right now, I made videos about this before as well, that like Lido is highly concentrated and it actually puts at risk the Ethereum network. And so SSV is an attempt to redistribute some of this power amongst different validators. And so you can see SSV is a decentralized staking infrastructure powering the future of distributed staking applications. And you can see Ethereum native has a lot of ETH coins that people never heard of. One of them is SSV. SSV is a layer 0 solution providing the infrastructure for splitting and running validators between different node operators. Its purpose is to further decentralize network security and governance and ultimately make Ethereum more scalable. Very important project for Ethereum chain. Keep your eyes on this one. And so one of the things that, and then restaking is the talk of the town. Learn how to utilize how utilizing SSV can complement restaking with Eigenlayer to become a more distributed and resilient. In fact, mainnet Eigenlayer validator is running on SSV at the very moment, gaining extra yield and performance. Exactly. So this one is trading on Binance already, which is good. You can see huge trading volume. It's down 40% from 10 months ago. So it's not a new protocol. In fact, if we go back to all time, we can see when did it launch? It launched, basically in the prime of the bull market. So it's still down, 40% from that. So the thing still has quite a lot of room to run. And if the Ethereum layer, Ethereum narrative comes back, people are going to be looking for other ways to earn yield. And SSV using Eigenlayer also is another way that people will probably be able to increase yield. So my bets, though, my big bets, like for example, I didn't buy any SSV today. Maybe it's a mistake, but I did. And this was maybe it was dumb after this almost 92% pump, but I did come back and I did buy some of this at a 35 because to me, that's the no-brainer. All right, guys, that's going to wrap it up today. Hope that you enjoyed it. We'll catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.